Welcome everyone to Let's Talk Speak on It. As many of you know, about 6 or 7 months ago, I started attending entrepreneur meetings at the Black Vegan, where we work on assisting others with different projects that they have going on. So today we are going to be joined by Kim. And so, welcome to Let's Talk Speak on It, Kim. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. And so now I know that you originally saw Sparkle, who is the owner of the Black Vegan, on the news, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what made you, when she spoke about the entrepreneur meetings on those Monday nights, what made you come to the Black Vegan for those meetings?
Okay. You know what? I have a two-part answer for you. Now, the short answer is that the universe and all its glory led me to the Black Vegan, to be honest. But to give you some context, I've been writing scripts and outlines for quite some time, and I was finally ready to get out of my own way, step out on faith, and find a way to bring these projects to fruition. And I truly believe in the power of prayer. And when I prayed, I was very specific about my needs. You know, trust me, I went boldly to the throne of grace, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And I prayed to God to go before me, to make my crooked path straight, expand my circle, and have me to do what He would have me to do. And out of all of these, expanding my circle was crucial because filmmaking is a collaborative process and it isn't cheap. So I had no clue who would help me or where they would come from. But God spoke to my spirit and said, network and open your mouth to express your needs. Mm-hmm. So the first part of my networking journey, I went to this filmmaking seminar and I met Aretha Tatum. She is the producer of a Tubi series called Seasons.
Yes.
And she became an invaluable source of inspiration and kind of a mentor. And every week she would call me and say, you know, you got to do something, you got to do something. So one day I'm at home, flipping through YouTube, and I clicked on this interview that CBS did with Sparkle in connection with Black Restaurant Week. Now, I'm not vegan, I have to admit, but something about her spirit and the way in which she conducted the interview really drew me in. And just as I was about to click off and try to go to something else, the spirit screamed, keep watching. And near the end of it, she mentioned this free weekly meeting where entrepreneurs get together to help one another get their projects done. And I'm like, Lord, this is divine intervention. So I went to a meeting, spoke up about my project, and was blessed to find a wonderful team to help me finish my first project. And with that said, I want to give a few little quick shout outs to Elandria Nichols, Ifani, yourself, Sparkle, and our director, Chikandi.
Okay, awesome. And thank you for allowing me to also be a part of what you're working on too.
Well, it was blessed to have you.
And so now I know what it is that you're working on. Can you let our listeners know what you're currently working on?
Well, you know what? I just finished my first short film, and it's called Breeding Ground, and it highlights the effects of domestic violence on children.
Now, what led you to write this script?
Well, I have to tell you, the first script that I was going to try to produce had nothing to do with domestic violence. It was kind of like a documentary about this woman that was a single mother. She raised 5 extraordinary college-educated kids on her own, and that fell apart. And then I went out to breakfast with some friends of mine. One is a social worker, and a couple of the other ones are teachers. And they were telling me horror stories about the prevalence of violence among children that they were encountering as young as 3 years old. And a lot of it was being traced back to their home environment.
Yeah.
So when people think of domestic violence, they often think in terms of the woman or the man being abused. But what struck me was, what is the impact on children who are witnessing this violence at alarming rates? So much so that now children are being called the silent victims in domestic violence. So that is what led me to want to shine light on that issue.
Working with kids personally myself, when I train therapists or teachers, I always tell them to treat the kids like they have dealt with trauma in the past or they're currently dealing with it. So even if we don't know, because sometimes they can't advocate to let us know that either.
Exactly. And when I was doing a little research to find out, like, are there statistics out there to show how many, children and adolescents are affected by this, I found out that as many as 10 million children witness violence between their parents or caregivers each year. And they're saying that those who grew up with this type of domestic violence are 6 times more likely to commit suicide, 50% more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol, and 74% more likely to commit a violent crime against someone else. So that's teaching us that this is a learned behavior.
Yes.
And it's repetitive. And it's the name of the short, breeding ground. Like, is your home a breeding ground for love, or is it a breeding ground for violence?
And that is extremely important.
Thing, that you wouldn't want to happen to your kids.
Yes, and that is extremely important. So that's going to help teach not just parents, but families and everyone who is involved in a child's life to be mindful of what's going on within their home setting.
Exactly. So many people think that kids, and we kind of brought this out a little bit in Breeding Ground, that kids don't know what's going on. Kids know everything that's going on. They may not tell you directly, but they know what's going on. They're sneaky little creatures that can, look around a corner and see someone being abused or hear someone being abused, and that affects them.
Yes. Yeah, so I cannot wait for you to be able to show this short episode film that you did with the public. It is very needed for our community to take some time to watch it and to actually understand it too.
Yes, and we're working on that now. Hopefully, we will be able to have a premiere in Chicago at some point in the near future. So I will definitely keep you in the loop on that.
Awesome. So I know at the beginning of our discussion, you were mentioning how you saw Sparkle on YouTube, and then you also had a mentor who was helping and encouraging you also. Now, if there are other people who are listening to this who have big dreams and there are certain things they want to accomplish, what would you say to them?
Let's see. First of all, I would say that we have to recognize that all of us are born with gifts, talents, and we're born for God's purpose. And you have to pray and be still and listen to your spirit, and God will reveal his purpose for your life. It's something that you can do effortlessly. Like, some people are good with the gift of gab. They can sell water to a sailor. Some people can take a shoestring and make a dress out of it. You have gifts and talents, but a lot of us, in the words of the great T.R. Scott, said, you don't unpack the gift. Too many people die with unrecognized dreams. And it's because of a lot of things. Sometimes they feel they don't have the resources. Sometimes they feel that, they're afraid, and you can be afraid of success and you can be afraid of failure.
Yes.
But the thing is that you have to be true to who you are, stay in your lane and not someone else's. Don't be quick to jump on bandwagons and follow trends and things that don't have to do with bringing your purpose to fruition. So I would say, that after you find out what that purpose is, you need to plan your work your plan, and accomplish what you will. Your purpose is tied to every single blessing God has for you in your life. And the Bible tells us all that faith without works is dead. You're going to have to do some work. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's not going to be manna from the sky. But if you plan your work and work your plan one step at a time, you'll get where you're trying to go.
That was so amazing, Miss Kim. I think so often that we forget, and some people just believe that things are just going to happen, and everything requires us to put the work into it too. Whatever it is that we want to go out and to accomplish too. So thank you for that. That was so inspirational, Miss Kim.
Thank you. And I want to tell the people that are listening, there is a book, a business, a movie, a film, a restaurant, and a million other things God has called you to do. So plan your work your plans, step out on faith, get it done. And no excuses. Hold yourself accountable. And that's the great thing about the group that Sparkle leads. Everybody is holding the next person accountable, like, giving each other the side.
Yeah, making sure it gets
done.
done.
That last week, not beating people up about it, but just making them mindful of the fact that it's not going to get done unless you do it. And you have to want it more than you want what you have right now. You have to want your future more than what you have in the present. So you have to work towards it.
Yes, that is so important. Thank you so much, Ms. Kim, for joining us and taking the time to meet with us today. And then, are there any projects that you're working on for your future?
You know what? I have an action comedy that's based here in Chicago, full-length feature film that I want to get off the ground, and I'll be talking about that in the near future. But people can catch up with me through my website, which is www.kimistryfilms.com, and chemistry is a takeoff on my name, Kim. So it's KIMISTRY films.com, and catch up with me there.
Awesome. So make sure you all go to Kimistry Films to check out Miss Kim. And then once the film is out, please be sure to check it out also. Thank you so much for joining us today, Miss Kim.
Thank you. I had a ball.
Thank you all for tuning in and listening to Let's Talk Speak on It. I'm your host, Tamika Cozy. Please make sure that you go and like and follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also remember, as you go about your day, to be mindful of situations that are happening within your home. Remembering that if you do have children within a home, that they are looking, they are watching, they are listening, and they are also aware. And if you have goals and you're looking to reach them, also remember, as Miss Kim said, that faith without works is dead. So let's go out and put in the work, everyone.